What's up, guys? We're live. We're live at the Gaylord Resort and Convention Center for ABCA Day 1. Kind of in the books. I mean, a lot of people still walking around, a lot of coaches, a lot of high school coaches, professional coaches. Ran into a bunch of guys today and a lot of good info. Kind of tell you guys, not going to be a super long stream right now just because there's still stuff going on, but I wanted to make sure, kind of updated you guys on my conversations I had today with a lot of different coaches. Obviously, I'm doing this from my phone, so a little bit weird. I couldn't really get it to look great on the horizontal aspect. Let me know, is my mic, how's this new mic I got? Is it working well? Canes? Welcome back to the chat, Kings. Under Armour All-American game and ESA stream. Another great day. That's right, baby. I'm going to give it a few more minutes before we start really breaking stuff down on kind of what went on. But we're on like the second, third level here. I'm overlooking. I can't move my phone and show you guys because the way I have this set up, it's going to mess something up, and then I'm going to be screwed. But really sick hotel, awesome venue. Right on the river in between like Maryland, Virginia, and DC. And no, a lot of good info. So like, I think you guys saw my tweets. Zach, what's up, dude? Welcome to the chat again, Zach. No, I mean, it's funny. I'm on my flight this morning in Atlanta. Took off at about 9:30 or boarded about 9:15. And it's Butch Thompson, it's Carl Nonamaker, the entire Troy staff, a couple of the Alabama guys, some Alabama high school coaches. The whole flight was packed. The whole flight was packed with college coaches, so I knew I was at the right terminal, and had a nice, probably 30, 40-minute conversation with Butch Thompson and Carl Nonamaker, and just talking baseball, talking shop, talking about some of the new rules and kind of what their thoughts were. So we're going to get into that soon. No, Canes, I didn't see Monty yet. I'm probably going to see him tomorrow. I messaged him on X, but he never responded. Can you guys see me? I'm going to make sure my camera is working. Okay. I had a phone call coming in. That's why this is a little bit weird on a phone. But no, Canes, I didn't get to... Yeah, I had a phone call come in, and it messed it up. That's why it's not going to be a super long stream, because there's still a lot of coaches around that I need to talk to, and seems like this thing, it goes all night. It goes to like late 10:30, 11 o'clock, so it's going to be a lot more stuff to do. But no, guys. So one of the things like Butch Thompson was telling me is that I think, you guys, we heard from Zeke Pinkham a few weeks ago before Christmas, and he was like, we're probably going to be putting more pitchers on the roster than position players. Butch Thompson's philosophy was basically going to be the exact opposite. He said, we invested heavily in the portal and within the high school class on the highest level pitching we could get. His strategy is, and it makes perfect sense, right? In today's offensive climate in college baseball, you can get decent hitters, you're above average hitters, the guys that are going to play at an ACC or an SEC school, and they're going to perform, right? The ball's flying, guys are taking weird swings, hitting balls out. So the offensive climate is so good. His point was, if you have decent hitters, you can win. If you have decent pitchers, you can't score enough runs, right? And so his point was, he said, I've never used more
than, I think he said 15 arms in a season. So he's like, I don't need to bring 20 arms. I don't need 20 arms on the roster. I need 15 guys, obviously 15 guys going into the season. I need 15 guys on the roster in the season that I know are good. Because he's like, if a guy's not good, he's not going to pitch. If a guy, I don't think is going to, if there's guys out there that are going to kind of walk the house, like why, I don't need him on the roster. But I want to have as much position versatility, position player wise to, fill in a roster spot if a guy doesn't perform or guys get hurt. We need to be able to move guys around. And I thought it was a really good conversation because, that's one of the first times I've heard that from a coach, and certainly, a coach in a big time program that, just because the climate is so offensive, it doesn't mean you need to stack up on pitchers. You need to stack up on 12 to 15 just really good arms. And his whole point was, if you have elite arms, you can compete. Your offense doesn't need to be great. But if you don't have great arms, like your offense has to be number one in the country. And Carl Nonamaker's point was, listen, Kyle, when you were playing, you invested in bats because the offensive climate was so terrible that, Friday nights were 1-0, like I told you guys. Saturday nights were 5-3, 5-4. And Sunday was basically the same. Well, now Friday, it's a 9-7 ball game. It's an 8-6 ball game. And so back then when I was playing, you needed the elite bats. Because if you had a really elite offense, that was gonna really help you out. A decent pitcher in that environment with a big strike zone, dead balls, brand new dead bats. A decent pitcher was going to be fine. He was going to pitch to a 3 ERA or maybe a 4 ERA, but he was going to be fine. If you didn't have good bats, your team batting average was going to be 250, 240, which, your classic team batting average in my era was 260 or 270. Now it's over 300. So it's just kind of, the times have changed. And I think another great piece of information that Carl was talking to me about was, he goes, listen, he's like, I think we're all, with how offensive the climate is now, we're all trying to figure out, okay, what is the perfect number? What are the positions you really need to go after in recruiting? And his conclusion was you need elite pitching now. If you don't have elite pitching, it's going to be really tough to go out there and compete. And I think, and Butch made a good point too. He said, everyone's going to have injuries. Everyone's going to have arm injuries. It's a matter of which arms of yours get hurt. If it's your top, 3 of your top 5 arms, your season's over. There's no one that can come in and fill those gaps. There's no one. So he goes, I'm not worried about the injuries exactly. I'm worried about, he basically said to me, it's kind of the same thing. It's about who of your arms get hurt. And, so, those were really good points by both of them. And going to be talking more to them probably tomorrow. Dusty Isaacs. Dusty, welcome back, man. Is the entire ESA team attending? No, it's me, Pat Pinkman, and Wally Crancher will be getting in tomorrow. So, we have 3. We're going to have 3 guys here. Haynes, 1,000%. Yeah, it's good points, right? And it's good to hear from guys at that high of a level, because I think he's spot on with, listen, it doesn't matter if you have 19 arms if 3 of your best pitchers get hurt. You're kind of cooked at that point, right? Having an extra 3 or 4 arms isn't going to make up for the fact that you lost your Friday guy, your Saturday guy, and your closer. No one's going to be able to fill those roles. You may have some guys that are, young, who in a year or two may be able to fill one of those roles, but they're certainly not going to be able to fill the shoes of the guys who are in those positions right now. So I think really good stuff from Butch and from Carl. Butch is talking of experience. Moment August 1st came, he went to work and flipped one of our top commits, left-handed pitcher, 6'4", 190. Yeah, this is what he said. He said we really found out that in the portal specifically, we've got to go after the elite pitchers. The elite pitchers in the portal in the elite arms in high school. He's like, that's where we're spending money right now. I mean, they're going to give money to some bats, right? But the priority is we're gonna maybe spend a little bit more on the elite arms than even we would like, because that's going to be the recipe for winning. Talked to Gardner Webb, Jim Chester, Gardner Webb, head coach there in North Carolina, really good mid-major. And we were talking about the portal and some of these new rules. And he basically said, listen, I don't like the fact that I know I'm gonna have guys come here that put up really good numbers and end up bouncing to a bigger school. But like, that's the environment I'm in, and I'm fully on board with recruiting those guys. Because he's like, if I get them for a year, if I get them for 2 years, they're making our team better. And he was telling me, he thinks, we were talking about how, and you guys have heard me talk about that. Now in the portal, like D1 schools are going after D3 players, D2 players. And I think a lot of you guys out there as parents think that, if you go to a D3, a D1's not going to want you. Well, he was telling me, he thought they were one of the first movers in that regard. They had I think his name was Mason Miller, I could be wrong, that committed to them from a D3. And he said, we really liked everything we saw on video. We kind of took a chance, and he blew up. And so he felt like he was one of the first guys to really go after guys at the Division III level. And Jim's got a lot of experience in coaching at the lower levels, small college. So he knows the talent level at that level probably better than a lot of coaches at the Division I level. And like I said, I mean, he thinks, listen, if I don't do this, if I don't recruit high school guys that I know are probably going to try to jump somewhere else, if I don't go after guys in the portal that are probably going to do the same thing, then I'm losing. And he said he's been in the game a long time, and the guys who don't kind of start conforming and moving towards the climate of recruiting, like they wash out. Right. And there's a lot of coaches out there that don't want the players that are using a school as a stepping stone. But he said, listen, I don't like it, but like I have to do it. And so that was I thought really cool. Got to listen to talk with Matt Swope. Got to watch his presentation of the motor preferences, and I was pretty blown away with the presentation and just his whole philosophy on coaching. I mean, here's the deal, guys. If you have a son out there and he's a hitter, there's not many other coaches in the country that I would want coaching my son hitting than Matt Swope. Just to be totally honest. I mean, after watching that presentation and getting to talk to him for a bit, Haynes, it would be interesting to ask Gardner Webb coach or coaches of similar mid-major level. When they are recruiting these kids, are they talking to them about coming here to develop and then bounce to a higher level? I wonder how those phone calls go. I would say this. I mean, there are some coaches that are doing that. And the coaches that I know that are doing that are more like the D2 level, right? They're trying to attract a potential D1 guy there by saying, hey, listen, we'll develop you. We've got a track record of it. And if you want to bounce, like, we'll help you. I don't think Jim would probably say he's going to advertise that because, again, he wants to keep these guys as long as he can, right? But he's not under any assumption and that guys are there because they 100% are committed to play there for 4 years. He would love that, but he's probably not going to be, he's not going to be advertising that in recruiting, right? Hey, we'll help you go to the next level. He wants those guys to stay. He's hoping they stay, but he knows a lot of them are probably going to try. Okay, so I had to accidentally click that. Running this on the phone is a little bit more difficult than I would like. But talked with a good amount more schools. Saw the coaches from Kennesaw State, Ryan Coe, Brad Tyler. Talked to them about one of Dusty Isaac's guys, Reed Worley. Talked to them about him and what they thought about him and where he projects for them. One of Dusty Isaac's proteges, I will say. Kyle, does any of the ESA provide strength and conditioning services? I feel like that's a critical gap that you rarely cover. Yeah, so basically what we typically do, Dusty, is and you can talk about your guy Reed Worley for me as well. We have good relationships with a lot of the development facilities in every region based on the advisor who's working with the players. So we typically will refer them to guys that we think, again, Dusty, like you know this, that high school kids are kind of overthinking a lot of the weight training and strength training stuff. It's more about, are you doing the right lifts? You're doing your core lifts, your squats, your bench press, you're getting your back and shoulders worked out. You're doing deadlifts, doing some explosive stuff. I feel like the weight training part, I think most parents overthink it and think that you have to be doing these really specific training protocols, when in reality at that age, it's really just about gaining as much strength as you can. And if you're hitting your core work, you're hitting your core lifts, you're eating enough calories and you're eating enough protein, you're going to see plenty of strength gain. And that's really what you need to do before you start doing specialized stuff, is you have to get stronger first. And you and I both know that. What is Kennesaw's approach in recruiting? I was talking to him about it, Canes. I said, listen, why do you guys keep getting all the really good freshman arms in Georgia? And they just said, it's kind of like what Butch Thompson said, like we know in this environment that we got to go really hard on pitching. And so we're going to go after we're going to try to get these elite arms in Georgia as fast as we can. So Reed Worley is one example of that, but they had 2 or 3 freshmen. I did one of the broadcasts against Kennesaw State last year, and I think they threw 3 freshmen in a row that were all, pretty good command around the plate, good breaking balls, and we're all throwing low to mid 90s. So Kennesaw's doing a really good job of kind of going after these arms, whether they're projecting that they're going to get there, whatever their philosophy is. They're doing a great job of landing guys that are getting to campus, and they're topping out in 94, 95 range, which is going to be in that conference is going to be really good. And again, Reed Worley, who knows if he gets any high level kind of draft interest, but he certainly keeps ticking up on rankings and everything like that. Dusty Isaacson can speak to Reed Worley, because I know Dusty was one of his development coaches on the pitching side that helped him get to where he is right now. Might have even helped him develop that signature front hip changeup that he used on me in inter squads back at Georgia Tech. Guys, it's been a great, obviously I landed and I got into my hotel at about 12:30, and then kind of got over to the convention center about 1:15, and just been nonstop conversations with coaches. Zach, so coaches feel like it's easier to find bats than arms. It's not that. It's more so, it's not that it's easier to find them. It's that an elite arm is going to bring you more benefit than an elite hitter. And so, again, if you have elite arms in this offensive climate where guys are scoring 10 runs a game, and people are hitting 3 home runs per game as a team, if you have elite arms that can really shut down offenses, your offense just has to be okay. And coaches feel like it's a lot easier to find average hitters that in this climate, when I played, an average hitter was hitting 260 with 4 home runs. Now an average hitter is hitting 290, 285 to 315 with 10 pumps. That's your average ACC hitter or SEC hitter. So the point is, an average SEC hitter is still going to be pretty productive. An average pitcher is going to pitch to a 6.7 ERA. So if you got elite guy, and again, an elite arm in this offensive climate is you got a 3 ERA. That's a really good arm, especially as a starter or a bullpen guy. So it's not that they're easier. They certainly are easier to project, but it's just you're getting way more value in this climate from elite arms than you are elite bats. Look at a kid Kyle knows, Kyle Lodice, who went to GT, D2 kid that will likely hit over 300 in the ACC. Yeah, and he's in the top 100 on for the draft as a college prospect. Came out of D2, going to play shortstop, going to hit. Certainly probably going to hit higher than just 300. Hit 330 in the ACC. At least that's what he's projected to do. And again, so you find that guy from a Division II, and he's going to be a fixture in your lineup. He's going to play shortstop. And, Georgia Tech probably spent probably no NIL money on him. Whereas, so if you're using it, let's say you have a budget of like 200,000 for NIL, low level, not speaking about Georgia Tech, but just in general, like that money is going to go way better to find like a couple frontline arms. You know, you spend that on 2 weekend starters that you think are going to be legit, then you're going to do it. You're not going to spread that out like 20 grand to 10 guys because you're just not going to get the value you need. Kennesaw's recruiting coordinator is also their pitching coach, so arms are always a priority for him. 100%. 100%. Yeah, we talked about it. And again, I think teams are starting to realize that now, that in this offensive climate, yes, you're going to try to get elite bats, but the priority is the elite arms. And again, and this is something my dad always said. I always would ask him, like, why did the major league pitchers get all? And this was back when Kershaw was getting his big deal and all those guys, Bumgarner. Why do the frontline starters, the true aces, get the biggest deals? And he said because they're the losing streak stoppers. Like that, a true ace is very hard to beat. And so if you're on a skid as a team in the big leagues, that's your skid stopper. So that brings way more value getting back in the win column. It's not just about, well, he's got elite stuff and his stats are really good and this. It's like, no, he prevents us from going on long losing streaks. And your position players are one guy in a lineup, right? Your position guy is one guy in a lineup who you can go 0 for 4 and lose the game. Or you can go 0 for 4 and win the game. But if your pitcher is a stud and he dominates the game, really high chance you're going to win that game. If your pitcher's not good and he gives up 8 runs in the first inning, you're probably losing. Right? So when a hitter has a bad game, it doesn't really have it has an impact, but it's not nearly as big as a pitcher with a bad game, if that makes sense. So your pitchers are just obviously going to have way more impact on the game than a hitter, generally speaking. And so if you have really good pitchers and they have a bigger impact on the game than an individual hitter, then you're going to win more, especially in this climate. Like I said, when the balls were dead and the ball went nowhere and everybody was hitting 250 from 2011 to 2014 or 2015, you could get by with average pitchers because, like, the ball was dead, ball went nowhere. You can't do that anymore. Average pitchers are giving up 20 home runs a year now, 15 home runs a year. So you can't deal with it, even if they're a strike thrower, right? Because a strike thrower in the zone is better than a guy that doesn't throw strikes, but a strike thrower is still, he's going to be giving up a lot of contact. And contact in this era means extra base hits, home runs, right? No, so I'm curious. We're probably going to end it here pretty soon, guys. Just wanted to give you guys an update. Obviously, going to have a lot more coverage tomorrow. I'm going to try my best to get some videos with the coaches, but it's just this convention, like everyone's just walking around. And there's a lot going on, so I'm going to try to do that. But I'll definitely keep you guys updated with what I hear tomorrow and the rest of the night. And got to talk with Chris Colabello, Michael, 2 of my former teammates in AAA with the Red Sox and the Brewers, and they're on the team at Pelotero. Got to, like I said, watch the presentation with Matt Swope and Johnny Gomes and Colabello and those guys. It was really good. Canes, thank you as always. Yeah, man, no problem, dude. Just trying to bring you guys as much information and keep you guys up to date. Tomorrow and tonight, guys, the goal is to figure out if these guys are hearing anything about these changes. Go find JD and Jonathan. Yeah, I haven't run into him, Canes. I haven't seen him at all. I know my buddy Luke Bonfield of Tennessee, who's another former teammate, him and Elander, he told me they got in about 30 minutes ago to the hotel. So I'm going to try to run into them. I'll see if I can find Jonathan and JD. I hope Chris Dominguez is here. Maybe he's not. I don't know. If he's here, I'm gonna hit him up. And I'm really, the goal for these couple days is try to figure out if anyone's hearing anything on the fine print with this stuff, the JUCO stuff. And it's funny because one of the coaches brought up that, man, with all these JUCO changes, like, what's that going to be? What's the impact going to be for you guys? And I said, well, we work with a lot of JUCO guys. We work with a lot of portal guys. And it's really what our program's about, is educating not only you guys and trying to give you guys as much information as possible, but like making sure our clients understand how the process is changing and helping them understand what's the best route for them going forward in their career. So a lot of times it's about making sure clients know, listen, like, I think, D1 is you got a shot at D1. Your ceiling's up there for sure. If you put the work in, right, I don't believe in ceilings, but you guys know what I mean. It's about, do they put the work in enough to get there? But it may be that the JUCO or a D2 or whatever is the best route for you. And certainly if a lot of these changes happen with JUCO, and the guys I talked to all said, well, this is the same way the portal started and the same way NIL started. So almost every coach I talked to today said they think the JUCO eligibility stuff is going to be 100% in. Will it be just 1 year or will it be 2 years? They're like, no idea. But they just think the way, like I told you guys, the way this all has gone, they think it's going to happen for sure. I would love for you and Jonathan to connect and meet. It would be great for our future. 100%, man. Gaines, you want Jonathan out recruiting, not at the convention. Well, I mean, there's no recruiting going on much right now. Professor Rosenthal, the man. There's not a lot of recruiting going on just because, we're kind of just still in a dead period. It's going to end here, just ended basically, or about to end. And there's just not a lot of recruiting right now. There's no games to go see or anything like that. So this is where, you want your coaches not only to be good recruiters, but to be good coaches, right? And this is a place, like I said, with that hitting presentation today, like that was a lot of really good information. And you want your coaches not just to be good recruiters, but to be good coaches as well and good at developing guys. We can't recruit now, Rosenthal. It's the dead period for coaches to go and recruit on the road. Yep. Yeah, and actually it's like a no communication at all period. I think it ends tomorrow, tonight at midnight. Go check out my video on it, guys. You guys know, go check out my video on it. But I'm gonna end it there, guys. Shoot me some messages on X or on YouTube about questions you maybe want answered. But again, we'll have some more updates maybe for you later tonight. I'll be probably posting some more stuff on X, and then tomorrow we're gonna go live again, and we'll have some more updates and tell you what I'm hearing from coaches and everything like that. So guys, I will see you later. Thanks for hopping in here real quick. We'll be back again.